Welcome, and I hope you are having a fantastic day. We're going to talk briefly about Bitcoin's price drop. Buy low, sell high. That's always the motto we hear as far as investing. You want to buy at a low price, sell at a higher price. So that leads me to ask, is this a good time to buy or sell cryptocurrency, and in particular Bitcoin? But as you may have noticed, the entire cryptocurrency market has taken a dive right along with Bitcoin. So, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion. I am not smarter than you. You are smarter than you realize. Do not trust what I say. Do your own research. Now, if we look at the price for Bitcoin, this chart shows us the price from November right up until right now today. And you can see that right now Bitcoin is trading at $8,332. Now, what we're talking about as far as a dip is this great big price dip right here. In fact, from this high, which was basically about $14,000, all the way down to the current price is about a 40% price drop. And with a 40% price drop, there's a lot of people out there that are panicking and selling off their Bitcoin. So the real question is that the right thing to do? Should we be panicking and selling off our Bitcoin because it's at this price? Well, the first thing we would want to do is we'd want to take a look at Bitcoin's history. So here's where Bitcoin hit $20,000. And if we go back through here, we can see other times like here where Bitcoin did a similar, about a 40% drop. Here's another one where Bitcoin does about a 40% drop. So seeing Bitcoin, and in this case, it's going from 1,100 all the way down to 785. So that's about a $300 price drop. And so that's about another 30% dip. And then here we're at 1264 and we're dropping down to 939. So in the ballpark of another 30% dip. So seeing a 30 and a 40% drop in Bitcoin is not uncommon, but here's the thing to ask. If you had sold it at this $1,000 price and missed out on the $20,000 high, would you? In that case, there's the $5,000 high out. So you needed to hold it a little bit longer to hit to 20 grand. So if you'd sold it $1,000 when you could have held longer and sold it 20 grand, was that a good decision? I would say no. You left $19,000 per Bitcoin on the table. And so that was a 20-fold increase from $1,000 to $20,000. You would have made 20 times your money if you held it instead of selling it just because it had a 30 or a 40% drop in price. And so you want to be really careful about what you're doing just because Bitcoin has a drop similar to what we've seen here. This drop here over that happened a week ago was only about a 12% drop, but when you add in this high of 14,000 and then the low of 8,000, that's what brings it up to about 40%. And so you have several different dips in here that the accumulative of it is that 40% drop. So is this a good time to be selling? I kind of think it might be a good time to be buying. This red line here is the 200-day moving average. And you can see that Bitcoin dropped slightly below the 200-day moving average. Well, if you look at the growth of Bitcoin as it approached the 2017 high of $20,000, there were only 3 times that Bitcoin actually broke that 200-day moving average. And those 3 times turned out to be opportunities to buy Bitcoin at the lowest price it would be as it made that progress. In other words, If this happens the way it's happened in the past, Bitcoin won't drop below this $200 or 200-day moving average, but maybe one or two more times before it hits its next all-time high. So I'm still bullish. I still think that Bitcoin is going to surpass these prices and that we're going to see it go even higher. In fact, if you look at the history, these big bars on this chart, these great big lines on this chart, is every time that Bitcoin did a halving. So I don't know if you're aware or understand what the Bitcoin halving is, but this is a web page that really explains it. The Bitcoin block reward halving countdown. And what we're talking about is every 210,000 blocks, Bitcoin's reward is cut in half. So right now, the reward is 12.5 Bitcoins. And when this block is reached, which is about 225 days, 21 hours, 49 minutes, 30 seconds, and that's an approximate date, Bitcoin will drop from 12.5 down to 6.25 coins. So what does that mean in real practical terms? Well, we can see here that the number of Bitcoins generated per day by mining is 1,800 Bitcoins per day. And when this date is reached, that number drops in half to 900 per day. So all of a sudden, I want to say out of the blue, but it's not out of the blue. Obviously, we have a pretty accurate way of trying to determine when this will happen. And this is based on how long it takes typically for Bitcoin to generate a block. A block is generated about every 10 minutes or so. And it varies because you're dealing with solving cryptographic, highly complex mathematical puzzles. And so most of the time we know how long those puzzles take to solve, but sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it goes faster. Just hard to say because to a certain degree it's kind of random who will solve that puzzle fastest and what will it take for them to actually solve it. Anyway, bottom line here, Bitcoin is going to go from 12.5 down to 6.25 rewards, and instead of them mining 1,800 Bitcoins a day, it'll drop to 900 Bitcoins a day. And you can see based on this chart that Bitcoin's biggest all-time high gains happen sometime after the Bitcoin halving of price, where the rewards, the block rewards, get cut in half. But if we look further at this, we can see, this blue area is the bull market where it makes its run up to the all-time high. The brown area here is a bear market. And then these reddish is accumulation, which is basically where Bitcoin is traveling sideways. Here we see an expansion where the price is going up, but it doesn't last very long and it goes right back into accumulation where people are buying and storing more and more Bitcoin. And this is our current path. So here's where we hit $20,000. And then here's where the price started dropping throughout 2018. And then here's the fall of 2018 as we're approaching November, December of 2018, where it took another big drop down into the $3,000 price range. And then here's this little bit here is what we've done so far in 2019. January 2019 actually hit somewhere right about in here is when January 2019 actually hit. So this entire stretch is what we've accomplished so far in 2019. Some people are expecting that the rest of 2019 into the end or to the beginning of 2020 is going to be another reaccumulation. That may be correct. We may end up going sideways for a good portion of that, or we may actually start seeing this blue happening a little bit early. I tend to think there's enough going on in the Bitcoin market that we actually could start our last leg of the bull market a little bit early, but time will tell. It may actually not happen until the actual date of the halving. And the current expectation or the current ETA is that that's going to happen on May 14th, 2020. And these guys are expecting it to happen right around 10 o'clock. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, 11 o'clock, 10:56. So that's, 4 minutes shy of 11 o'clock. Lastly, when it comes to deciding, hey, is this a time to get out or is this a time to be buying more? What you really have to ask yourself is what gives Bitcoin its value? And so in this little matrix, this is somebody's attempt to try and explain why Bitcoin has value. And it is comparing the value propositions of Bitcoin to gold and to money or fiat, dollar bills, US dollar bills. And so the different traits for money is it verifiable? Is it fungible, portable, durable, divisible, scarce, established history, censorship resistant, and unforgettable, unforgeable costliness? So as you can see, Bitcoin ranks very high. Gold is kind of moderate, but dollars is ranking a little bit lower on this scale. And a lot of that has to do with, dollar bills are not durable. They're easy to destroy. Whereas Bitcoin, it can't be destroyed, but it could be, you could lose your private keys. If you lose your private keys, you no longer have access to it. So that's why this is at moderate. Bitcoin is extremely portable. Gold is not portable at all. Well, it's semi-portable. If you're wearing it in a ring, wearing it in jewelry, it has some portability. But if you were trying to carry around $50,000 or $100,000 of gold, that's going to be a large quantity of gold. Whereas with Bitcoin, you can literally put that on a hardware wallet and away you go. Or with fiat currency, you can put it into a bank account and transfer it and away you go. So those are a lot more portable. Bitcoin is out of the three, Bitcoin is the most scarce because of the halving and because there's such a limited supply of it. Gold is moderately scarce because it has a limited supply and there's a limit to how much is made every year based on how much people can mine. But there's a little bit more of an unlimited supply, whereas Bitcoin has a hard stop at 21 million Bitcoin. And then fiat is ranked as low because they're printing money all the time. They print more and more and more money, and it floods the market with more cash. So anyway, enough out of me for right now. I want to thank you for listening to this. I hope you got something out of it. I hope this was helpful to you. In the meantime, tell me how I can be of service to you. Down below is a link if you want to communicate with me privately. You can also privately leave me your email and your name, and we will reply back to you as soon as possible. You can also put comments down below. And in the meantime, like, subscribe, and hodl. Thank you for listening and have a great day.